You eventually get tired of it, and it just doesn't happen. Every class is unique, it's new, it opens new areas. Myself, I mean, it's extraordinary. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask? Ask question. Nisha, you don't have a question?
No, I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Do you think there's such a thing as free will, or you think everything is determined?
I'm sorry, Paul. Can you repeat that and a little bit louder?
Do you think there's anything like? Do you think there's such a thing as free will, or is everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely, there's free will. You know, each and every one of us has free will. Every time we make a choice, you know, I choose to do this meditation. I could do many other things in my life. I chose to be in the art business. And yes, in many ways it's predetermined, but at the same time, you know, we do have will. We have will that enables us to get past internal obstructions. We have will that enables us to make choices that benefit us in life. I mean, yes, I believe in free will. I also believe in, you know, predetermined. I mean, everything is karma. But within the realms of karma, there is choice. And there's the will to choose what works for you. And I think that is a very good use of the will. Most people use the will to make money, to get power, to seduce other people, to, you know, that's how they use their will. But when you grow inside and you get to a place where there's consciousness, you know, you use the will in order to develop a chakra system that really gets you connected with higher energy in the universe. There's free will. There's also karma. Within the confines of karma, there's free will, which is your karma to make choices that benefit you. And this way you don't walk around in life thinking, what does it matter what I do? It's all predetermined anyway. It matters. You know, it matters, the choices we make. It differentiates us from animals. How we apply our energy, what we do with our energy, the choices we make. It's all part of free will. You know, and those choices we make transform us inside. The transformation is also part of karma. But we need the will to create the transformation. And then we have to have, even more important than the will, is a need to have a spiritual life, that hunger for higher energy in the universe. And the use of will enables us to satisfy that need, because the power of will can help us overcome the blocks and the limitations that exist inside us. So yes, I believe in free will. Very important aspect of life. We make choices. I'd say choices determine how we live. Choices determine the mistakes we made, also the good things we choose. And then we learn something about ourselves, about life, about what we have to do to grow inside, gratitude for the gifts that are given us in our life. I mean, there reaches a point where it really doesn't matter if there's free will, if there's not free will, if it's all determinate, you know, the predeterminated. It really doesn't matter. What matters is, how does one live their life in the moment? The rest of it is just philosophical speculation, and they've been talking about it for 1,000,000 years now, and nobody ever comes to a conclusion. Only because they're not supposed to come to a conclusion. They're supposed to live their life in the moment. And you can't live your life in the moment unless you apply your will and your need to grow inside and get strong enough to do it. So you have a master of your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't playing a ping pong match with you between the past and the future, and guilt and being a victim and all that madness that goes on inside people. You master them and you use them to develop the core of your being and to receive real knowledge. And real knowledge comes from a connection we have with higher energy in the universe. We are open enough to allow God, whatever you want to call it, to enter our system and teach us how we have to live. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I wouldn't think about stuff like that. This is no answer. And that's the greatness of it. There is no answer. So in order to grow, you got to transform all that into energy, into chakra development. You got to be able to live in the moment, because there are no answers other than those people manufacture in their brain, and they get an answer, and 10 minutes later, somebody's disproving it. It's madness falling from the sky. It really is. It's just... I hate to use the title of a book I wrote, but so what? Does anyone else have a question?
Hi, Stuart.
Yes.
You just mentioned that you think free will or free will doesn't matter. What do you think of truth? Does it matter?
I don't. Can you repeat the question?
Do you think truth matters?
Does truth matter?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what keeps people growing in themselves, getting closer to the core of the universe, the truth, getting real knowledge from higher energy in the universe. That's the greatest form of nourishment. Will we ever come to an absolute truth? I doubt it. We're not supposed to. But the whole mandala of truth that in the center is that energy force, keeps people growing. It keeps people inventing things. It just makes life work. Will we ever get there? I mean, that's not for me to determine, I just keep working towards it. Will I ever be perfect? I hope not. I really hope not. I want to continue to grow towards perfection, towards truth, because every step in that direction does nothing but add to my life. And, will I ever get there? I doubt it. The only thing that's perfect is God. The rest of us are all imperfect. We need to work on ourselves, to develop ourselves. And the imperfection is the key to spiritual growth. Now, this might be a hard thing to digest, but it's really true. Imperfection makes people work on themselves. Perfection, we'd all sit around and the only thing that would grow would be our asses. We're all perfect. imperfection makes us work on it. We have to do something about ourselves. We got all these creepy, curly thoughts going on, these emotions that drown us. We have all this stuff going on inside, all this imperfection. It forces people to come to classes like this. It forces people to work on themselves, whether it's a church or a synagogue or a mosque, or people have to go somewhere in order to get energy to deal with the chaos that goes on inside, the imperfection. So I wouldn't ever complain about imperfection. I would say, okay, what is it teaching me? How can I grow? How can I learn to get my mind quiet, my emotions quiet? What can I do? How can I learn to master my breathing, the focus of my attention? What kind of patience does that require? And then be grateful that life is showing you what you have to do to get closer to God. Otherwise, it's just endless round of reincarnation, coming here and going through this merry-go-round of suffering, that almost nobody ever gets off of, But one can get off of it by quieting the mind, by growing, by getting closer to the truth, closer to the realm of perfection, embracing spirit, letting it nurture you and nourish you, and more than anything, letting it help you get past all of the chaos that exists inside a human being. The fear, the insecurity that exists inside people. You need to get beyond it. Imperfection makes us work on ourselves to get beyond those basic things: neurosis, anxiety, fear, victimhood. You need to get past that in order to have a spiritual life. And then there'll be other imperfections that'll come. There'll be something. There's always something. And the best thing is you one day learn to laugh at it. You don't take it too seriously. All right, this is the problem for today. I can work with this. I can use this to grow in my life. But, I'll repeat it it takes time, training, patience, doing the work, not giving up on yourself, not using teachers like they were musical chairs, bouncing from chair, finding someone, whether it's me or somebody else. I'm not in competition with anybody, but finding someone who helps you to do this. Rudy helped me to do this. Without Rudy, forget it. And out of sheer gratitude, it's why I do today, trying to help other people learn this amazing thing I've learned in my life. Truth is a great motivator. And it'll honestly, because no one will ever get there, it will motivate you for the rest of your life to continue to grow and get knowledge and wisdom. And one day you just say, wow, who wants to get there? Let me just continue to grow and enjoy my life and be a child of God living in this world, Does anyone else have a question?
Hi, Stuart. I'm just wondering, what would you say that truth is?
Alicia, I can't understand you. So you have to pardon me. I'm getting older here. What? Go ahead.
What would you say truth is?
To what?
What is truth?
You know, I once had somebody ask me, I once did a talk at a Barnes and Noble bookstore in New Jersey, promoting one of my books that I had just published. And somebody asked me, he said, you know, can you define hell? They were very adamant about getting a definition. And although truth and hell are a little bit different, I told him, I thought about it for a second. I said, just turn on CNN. Truth is the same thing. Open your heart. Open your heart. Let wisdom guide you. Let knowledge, real knowledge guide you, not intellectual knowledge. Let a connection with spirit guide you. And then you won't have to ask what truth is. You will become a living example, you know, of a person who's living with truth without even understanding it. You just live that way. I don't think anyone can ever understand. I mean, look, if Plato didn't get it, and Aristotle and these brains that were so amazing ultimately just shrugged their shoulders and said, it's all about being happy. This is the conclusion these incredible philosophers arrived at. Nobody's going to arrive at a place where they're going to understand truth, but everybody can use it to grow and develop their life, become more of a human being, and learn how to become a living example of truth without understanding it in this world. You live that way. You give yourself a lot of headaches trying to figure out what the hell truth is. I mean it. But one can build a system inside that enables you to live that way. You just live that way without having to understand it. You become a living example of what it means, you know, to have truth inside you. So I really can't answer that question. Although I did answer the question, I really can't, you know, because I can't define God, truth, you know, things of that nature. They're outside my realm of comprehension. I mean it. And I've yet to meet anybody who's ever mastered that one. And when I was younger, I studied tons of philosophy and theology and religion and books one after the other, you know. Even Einstein, you know, finally shrugged his shoulders and said, it must be God. I don't understand any of this. A brain. Guy changed the 20th century, you know, and I don't know, it's got to be God. I don't understand any of this. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, there'll be meditation on Thursday. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Helping me get a little closer to truth.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.